Hello and welcome to Nurturing by Nature. Today we are looking at something that every dog owner faces at some point. What do you feed your dog when they're not feeling their best? I would like to be really clear before we begin because we are not vets, and if your dog is unwell, please always speak to your vet first. What I'm sharing here is simply what we feed our own dogs, Nurturing by Nature, when they're poorly, which is based on years of experience with raw feeding and learning what really helps their digestion. If you've ever taken a sick dog to the vets, you've probably been given the advice to feed cooked chicken and rice. Vets suggest this because it is simple. Most owners do have that at home and it feels like a bland and safe option. It's been the standard advice for decades, so it's often repeated out of habit. But here's the problem. Dogs aren't designed to eat and digest rice. They do not produce the enzymes that break down grains effectively, so rice actually makes their digestive system work harder, right when it needs to be resting and recovering. Even the chicken, when it's cooked, becomes less digestible than it would be raw. Cooking alters the proteins and it strips away the natural enzymes that help with digestion. So, whilst chicken and rice may sound safe, it can actually slow recovery rather than support it. And Nurturing by Nature, we take a different approach when our dogs are poorly. We keep it simple, gentle, and species appropriate. We use white fish, a mild lean protein that's very easy to digest. We feed it raw, often finely minced like this one, so the tummy doesn't have to work as hard. We also feed goat's milk, which is much gentle and it's naturally rich in nutrients and it's also hydrating, so you never feed cow's milk. If you're lucky to be able to get goat's milk raw, that is better. And goat's milk raw will contain natural probiotics, but your dog's system is out of balance. If you can't get raw, pasteurized goat's milk is still soothing and beneficial, but raw really does give an extra advantage. Chicken is raw and simple. For most dogs, it's very familiar. And here's an important tip. Don't serve it straight out of the fridge because the cold can be a shock to the stomach. Take it out a little bit earlier and warm it to room temperature so it is more soothing. You can use bone broth to do this, and this is an absolute go-to. It's hydrating, it's packed with minerals, and it is very appealing even when a dog doesn't want to eat much. If your dog will lap up some bone broth, that is often a great way to start them on the road to recovery. We also love tripe, green tripe especially. It's full of natural bacteria and digestive enzymes that will gently support the gut. Minced tripe's ideal, and when a dog is under the weather, it's easier to digest. Yes, it's still smelly for us, but absolutely irresistible to most dogs, and often when nothing else works, tripe will tempt them back to food. Now, when you've been to the vets, I'm sure you're familiar, they also have a prescription recovery diet. This little tin, it can be watered down and syringed into the dog's mouth if they don't eat. And they definitely do have their place, and in some cases they can be a lifeline, especially if a dog isn't eating anything at all. But for us, they're not something we would choose if we can help it. They're highly processed, they smell unappealing, and they don't match the fresh, species appropriate approach that we have at Nurturing by Nature. So we always try white fish, goat's milk, some bone broth and tripe first before going down that route, because we want to support the good gut bacteria. Because when a dog has been poorly, it's not just the tummy that's upset, it's often the gut bacteria too. We want to support that balance nice and gently. Goat's milk and tripe are brilliant here because they naturally provide probiotics and enzymes that help restore the good bacteria. And it's about feeding the gut in a calm and supportive way, not overwhelming it with food that takes too much effort to process. So don't worry if your dog doesn't eat for a day, because sometimes the best thing that you can do is nothing. A short period of time with no food at all can give the digestive system a chance to rest and heal. So if your dog skips a meal or two, don't panic, because it can actually help them recover. Sometimes the main thing is just getting them to take something in, like goat's milk, bone broth, minced tripe. They can all be tempting. But when a dog doesn't want much else, what matters most is hydration. The broth, the goat's milk, and even just fresh water will all help to keep your dog nice and comfortable. And if your dog is vomiting a lot or can't keep fluids down, that's when it's really important to get them to the vet. Dehydration can happen really quickly, and that needs professional care. So that's what Nurturing by Nature we feed our own dogs when they're feeling poorly. White fish, goat's milk, chicken at room temperature, and bone broth and tripe. We avoid rice and we go gentle and we let the dog guide us. And remember, we're not vets. This is simply what has worked for us and many of the dogs that we've cared for over the years. You should always seek veterinary advice if you're worried. And thank you so much for joining us at Nurturing by Nature. We are always here to support you on your raw feeding journey.